Billy Wagner will forever be known as the first left-handed relief pitcher to be inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. That's an impressive achievement for the man known as Billy the Kid. But what's even more impressive is that the first Hall of Fame lefty reliever just so happens to be right-handed. It's all part of the incredible, unlikely story of a player who grew up in poverty in rural Virginia and overcame not only his meager background, but his meager size to become one of the most dominant late-inning arms the game has ever seen. William Edward Wagner was born in July 1971 in small-town Marion, Virginia. His parents had married as teenagers and struggled to provide for Billy and his younger sister Chastity. They fought often and ultimately divorced when Billy was 5 years old, and he and his sister began getting shuffled around, living with various combinations of their parents, step-parents, and grandparents. This formative period of Billy's life was marked by hunger, shame, and rejection. He often felt unwanted. This feeling would extend to Billy's baseball life. His body was small, and therefore so were his prospects of eventually going pro. Except one day, little Billy was playing football with a neighbor who fell on him while making a tackle and broke his right arm and shoulder. Wagner was right-handed, still is. If you run into him on the street and ask him for an autograph, he would sign it with his right hand. But as a sports-loving little boy with his right arm unavailable, Billy didn't want to miss out on any action. There's a scientific concept called neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. It's stronger in childhood, and for young Billy Wagner, picking up and throwing baseballs, footballs, or even just rocks with his left hand at that stage of his life proved powerful. He would throw baseballs off the side of the house morning, noon, and night. He once threw one so hard that it knocked pieces of aluminum siding off the building. Soon he was striking out batters bigger than him in Little League. Wagner went on to have a terrific high school career, but not one that attracted the attention of scouts. It was not until his freshman year at Division III Ferrum College that he had a growth spurt, put on about 40 pounds, and began dialing his fastball up to 95 miles per hour. From there, everything was different for Billy Wagner. In one college season, he struck out 19.1 batters per 9 innings, still an NCAA record. He struck out 19 batters during a no-hitter, and he finished his 3-year career with a 1.63 ERA. In the 1993 MLB draft, the Astros selected Wagner with the 13th overall pick. He was viewed as a starter. In fact, prior to making his MLB debut just 2 years later, he didn't make a single relief appearance in the minor leagues.
I was just raw. And so Craig McMurtry was there, Darryl Kyle was there, and they had this experience and they knew how to pitch. I had no idea what I was doing. My instruction was throw it as hard as you can in that direction and then throw a curveball. I had no feel, I was just talented. I was effectively wild, and from the college days where 160, 180 pitches, that wasn't a big deal. I never had a sore arm, and so now trying to limit yourself to be able to pitch in 70 to 80 pitches, it was just a huge learning curve. And I mean, the first game I threw in front of Donnie Wall brought me out the next day, and him and Craig Murtry said, that's not going to work. And it's scary because you're like, oh, I want to please them. I want to be good just like them, because he's winning 17 games. I'm not looking at velocity. I don't even know what that means. Jeff Goff was probably one of the biggest influences for me in catching. And he literally would come to me, and we spoke a lot about just how to approach, what to do, what to think, and how to get ready to be a big leaguer. And so those guys had a huge influence on just me and my mental preparation, knowing that just because I was throwing hard and striking guys out, that wasn't going to be, but I was going to be a starter. So that was the plan when I went up.
Plans changed in the big leagues. Wagner retired the only batter he faced as a September call-up in 1995. The next year, he rejoined the team in June and pitched exclusively out of the pen, where the Astros needed help. They envisioned him as a long man, but by 1997, Wagner had shown enough improvement in his control to take over the closer role. He saved 23 games in the 97 season, yet he also blew one save opportunity for every 5 chances. Not unlike what happened to him as a boy playing football, it was an injury that unlocked things for Wagner. On July 15, 1998, he was struck in the head by a line drive and wound up missing about 3 weeks. He would later say that injury changed him, made him pitch more calmly, and if the numbers from the following season are any indication, he was right. In 1999, Wagner saved 39 games and struck out 124 batters in 74 2/3 innings. He had a minuscule 1.57 ERA and 0.78 walks and hits per inning pitched. He was a first-time All-Star, the Relief Man of the Year, finished 4th in the NL Cy Young voting, and even got some down-ballot support for MVP for the first-place Astros. In that time before triple-digit heat was so in vogue, Wagner's 100-mile-per-hour fastball overwhelmed opponents. And the fact that he was delivering that heat with his non-dominant hand only made the achievement more amazing. Wagner overcame a 2000 elbow surgery to quickly return to elite standing, again reaching the All-Star game in 2001 and 2003. But when he became discontent with the direction of the franchise and openly voiced his displeasure, the team traded him in the winter before the 2004 season to the Phillies, for whom he was an All-Star in 2005. When Billy the Kid reached free agency after that 05 season, he wound up in Queens, signing a 4-year, $43 million contract that made him the game's highest-paid reliever at the time. Though he pitched well for much of that time with the Mets, his 2008 season ended abruptly with Tommy John surgery, and he was traded to the Red Sox in 2009. He wound up signing with the Braves for what turned out to be his final season in 2010. All told, Wagner notched 422 saves in 16 seasons, racking up 1,196 strikeouts with a 2.31 ERA. He was a 7-time All-Star and helped 7 teams reach the postseason. His 11.9 Ks per 9 are the best ever for a pitcher with at least 900 innings, as is his 33.2% strikeout percentage and his 187 batting average against. What was his greatest skill?
Endurance. Because I think for a reliever to get there, you think about Lee Smith, you think about guys like Goose, Eck, all these guys. I mean, to get to this point in your career, you got to have endurance, and you go through so much. You're one pitch away from scrutiny, where as a starter you have some luxury to get through some innings, but endurance and just thinking about watching Mo, he made it look so easy, but the endurance it took him every single day to go out there and just be so good every day, and him and Hoffy were just phenomenal.
Because the bar for reliever entry into the Hall of Fame is exceptionally high, and because Wagner's ERA over 10 in the postseason was a blemish on an otherwise decorated closing career, the wait for Billy the Kid to get elected was agonizing. He finally got the support he needed on his 10th and final try with the Baseball Writers Association of America ballot in 2025. But that wait for the call to Cooperstown was nothing compared to everything Wagner had overcome to get to the majors in the first place. It's one of those beautifully bonkers baseball tidbits that a right-hander is the first lefty reliever in the Hall of Fame. And we owe it all to that kid that broke Billy Wagner's right arm way back when.
Chip was a big fan. I'm a big fan of Chip right now. Who would have thought that a kid from across the street would come over to my grandmother's house and play football with me and fall on my right arm, and next thing you know, I'd be a Hall of Famer. I mean, if God isn't great and have a purpose, I don't know what does. So, all the credit to his will. But I tell you, this kid was, he played what a huge role in my life.